Oh, there's some folks on. Okay. All right. All right. Good team. Y'all are the best. Oh man. Hi. Go team. All right. Great job, guys. Sorry about that. Also, I should probably let you guys go to bed soon. / go to bed myself. But you guys haven't seen my apartment yet. I did promise a tour of my apartment. At least the parts of it that aren't super dirty. So there's that. Okay. Okay. So I calculated the marginal cost and marginal utility for these units. So remember, you add an extra unit, add, in this case, $100 of total cost. So since we're buying, oh, well, I guess you guys don't sleep, but you should probably sleep. It's good. Remember to watch out for fixed costs as we're calculating these marginals. But in this case, since we're buying units of a good, there's no fixed cost. So if you don't buy any units of the good, you don't have to pay any cost for that good. So we add one unit of good, add $100 of total cost, add a second unit, add $110 of total cost to the total cost, add a third unit, add $130, and so on. Okay, so it goes down 160, 100, 200. And then, you guys all good? Oh, yeah, apartment tour. Yep. Okay. And then total utility, right? Added extra unit, cost $200, or sorry, $200 of happiness. Add a second unit, add $160 of happiness, right? Add another unit, 120, right? Add another unit, 10. Add another unit, 80. Okay, so and then MR equals MC, right? Or marginal utility greater than or equal to marginal cost. So you buy every unit where marginal utility is greater than marginal cost. So first one for sure, second one for sure, third one, nope, right? So marginal utility is less than marginal cost. So buy 2 units, that is all. Okay. Wait, we don't know the fixed cost. Yeah, so in this case, this is marginal utility, so you're buying extra units of this good and getting extra happiness and incurring extra cost. So there isn't a fixed cost. If we're talking about production, so if this were a table and you're like producing this many units, there would be a fixed cost, almost certainly. So if we're doing utility stuff, there's basically never a fixed cost. But if we're doing production stuff, there's pretty much always a fixed cost. Are we cool with that? Marginal cost is change in total cost. Yeah, change in total or change in Q. Give us an example of the shifter. Oh yeah, we have identified what shifter it is. Oh, that sounds like fun. Okay, how about oh yeah, classic. Okay, so the market for coconut milk if a fire damages a lot of palm trees where coconuts come from. Okay, so the market for coconut milk if a fire destroys a lot of palm trees, which is where coconuts come from. We have shifter friends? Okay, so you might be like, elements of nature, and that sounds appealing, but no. The best one, so I would take elements of nature. I'm not that much of a stickler. But the best one is change in price of resource, right? Because coconuts are a resource for coconut milk. And the price of coconuts would go up because they're less available. Yeah, so not elements of nature. Okay, so I would take elements of nature. It's not the best one, though. Change in price of resource would be better. Does that make sense? Because fewer coconuts available and the coconuts are an input, right? So elements of nature would be like, for coconut milk specifically, I don't know, but like maybe like flooding at a major coconut plant, or sorry, coconut milk plant disrupts production or something like that. Okay. Oh, words on the whiteboard. Oh, but writing is hard. If coconut milks were burned, yes, but the coconuts are an input to the coconut milk. Does that make sense? So natural burning. All right, thanks. Okay. Yeah, read the question. That's super important. Yeah, thanks for the reminder, Zaheen. 100%. Oh yeah. Okay. So other shifters. Okay. So what if the number of let's say there's a sorry, I'm kind of choking here in the clutch. Okay. Um, yeah, sorry to let you down, Abigail. I'm kind of choking on random shift scenarios. But those are good practice. So maybe have you and your friends make up stories for each other and try to identify the shifters. Not a bad idea. Okay. Is there any real questions in here? Hard to say. What shifters do you have to include price of? Oh, good question. Change in price of inputs, supply shifter. Change in price of related goods or change in price of substitute or complement. You're welcome to specify that in the specific situation. And then change in price, change in expected future price, demand shifter. Yeah, that's a really rough demand shifter. Change in expected future price. You guys have been super good at that, but usually eighth graders get super confused because change in expected future price means the price hasn't changed yet. People just think it probably will, and so they act today the way that they would to try to beat that price change. So they think the price is going to fall in the future. They'll buy less today, which all other things equal would make the price fall. But the price isn't falling today. The price falling today would be a change in quantity demand, not a demand shifter. But you guys are really good at identifying expected price and doing that as a demand shifter. So great job. You're awesome. Go team. Wow. Okay, lots of thoughts. Okay, difference between marginal social cost and marginal private cost. Yeah, marginal social cost is marginal private cost plus the spillover cost. So marginal social cost is just total cost of the action. Cost to the decision maker and to the people who are spilled onto. How do you get marginal utility and marginal cost? Marginals are just change in total over change in Q. So you add extra cost when you add extra unit, however extra much cost you add divided by the extra number of units you added is your marginal cost. So change in total over change in Q. So new minus old cost or utility divided by new minus old quantity. What moves PBC outward? More or better resources, and then like innovations, technology, productivity. So those are your two. More resources are using them better. Okay, quantity still decrease, news will stay, it's economies of scale. Yeah, if quantity decreases for economies of scale, quantity decreases, then you just flip the change in the average total cost. So if quantity decreases and average total cost increases, for you guys like this, oh gosh, I don't know how you're going to see this if it's flipped or not. But average total cost, if the quantity goes down and average total cost increases, that means you're in economies of scale. No, I did that wrong. Quantity. Oh yeah, quantity decreases, average total cost increases. Means you're in the economies of scale region. Yeah. Okay. Riots are the only political shifter for supply. Could be riots, could be war, could be bombings. But remember, it has to disrupt production. So like a country going to war. So like the U.S. has gone to war all the time, but we've never had wars disrupt production in America, right? We've never been bombed, except for Pearl Harbor, but that didn't really disrupt production, right? So none of so in the U.S., war changes demand because the government demands more war goods, and so more metals go to war products, more engineers go to war things, and away from other things. But that's a demand change. So the political disruptions is, factories got bombed, so now those factories are offline, or people are scared about, riots or civil war or whatever, and they're not producing things, or raiders have come in and burnt down all the crops. That sort of thing. All right, house tour. Ready? Okay. It's pretty small. My roommate and I lived here. She's a high school friend. We did rowing together back in the day in Indiana. And I talked her into moving out here, and we're living our best lives in this little tiny apartment, and it's awesome. And I did these little paintings. Yeah. Pinterest. Okay, and there's my doggo on the couch. Yeah, there's a mall, the television and books. And then she's taking a second time. But we're all about pictures. Okay, and then the table, very decoration. A little green chair. Do love a little green chair. And I have a kitchen where I cook my foods. Oh yeah, my bookshelf. You guys are looking at it the whole time. Love that bookshelf. And then there's my kitchen. Isn't that happy? It's a good kitchen. Yeah. Yeah, we got a lot of Christmas stuff in the fridge. More paintings that I did. Also, tape. Yeah, helps with arts things. Okay. Yeah. And we have a washing machine, and that's pretty much all. Yeah. So that's my apartment. Yeah. Okay. What is actually income effect versus a demand shifter change in income? Yeah. Okay. So remember the demand curve is downward sloping for 3 reasons. As the price goes up, people's money doesn't go as far. That's the income effect. Income effect. Got that? Go to the bathroom. Oh, maybe it's a cool bathroom. Income effect, right? As the price of a good goes up, it's as if people's income goes down, right? They have less money to buy goods because the goods are more expensive. So that's the income effect. But remember, we also have the substitution effect, where as price goes up, people, other products are more appealing, so they buy less of this product. And then, so that's the substitution effect. And then diminishing marginal utility. But yeah, the income, change in income shifter is people are actually poorer or actually richer. And so now they buy more or less of the normal and inferior goods. Okay. Do I have a dog? What, you've seen the dog a bunch of times? There she is. Oh, Popo! Popo! It's Guinevere. Living her best life. Okay. Okay. Then, any other questions? The bathtub graph is the diseconomies of scale, economies of scale, conservation of scale. Oh my gosh, Daniela. Small. My roommate and I use that all the time to talk about the doggo. She's small. Okay, so great. And then, okay, any content? Oh, thanks. I like the kitchen too. Okay. All right. Okay, so any other content? Elasticity of demand in different market structures. Oh, good one. Yeah, because the product differentiation and number of firms are really important to the market structures, but also really important to elasticity of demand, right? Because the closer the substitutes are, the more elastic the demand. Yeah, so perfectly elastic demand for perfect competition because the goods are identical. So they're perfect substitutes. So for the closest of substitutes, they're infinitely close substitutes. And then monopolistic competition, they're close substitutes but differentiated, so they're not perfect substitutes, but still close substitutes. So pretty elastic demand. Sorry, like pretty elastic demand. And then oligopoly, there's the few firms produce most or all of the product. So outside of those firms, there's not really a lot of competition, but there could be significant competition within the firms between the however many of them. But usually they're not super aggressively competing because they all recognize that really aggressively competing each other to zero economic profit isn't a great idea. And then, so the demand curve for all, however many of those firms product together is pretty steep because they produce pretty much all that product that, depending on how you define the market, doesn't really have close substitutes. And then, so like smartphones, right? Apple and Samsung is a duopoly. Those two companies produce most smartphones. So there are tons of tiny companies, but they don't produce. The alternatives to those two are fairly far substitutes. That's not a great example, I guess. And then monopoly, the demand curve is, in fact, the demand curve for monopoly has nothing really to do with the market structure. It just depends on how elastic the demand for the product is. So if you have a monopoly on a good that is a high perceived need, then it's going to have a pretty inelastic demand, but that has nothing to do with it being a monopoly. Whereas if you have a monopoly on a product that's a low perceived need or a high proportion of budget, then your demand's going to be pretty elastic, even though you're a monopoly. So, okay, good question. Cool. Oh, example of creative entrepreneurship other than the Disney one, for the externality problems. On the test question with the clicky pen, there was a student who made the clicky pen that doesn't make noise and sold it to the other student. So that would be an example of a creative entrepreneurship. So once it's established that a person is like who's in the wrong for an externality problem, then it's that person's obligation to make sure they don't cause an externality. So what that means for them is if they really care about doing a certain thing, then they have to pay for something that allows them to do that. So if they, like somebody wants to play their music loudly at night and it's determined that they are in the wrong, they're not allowed to do that, but they really want to, they can either do the coast theorem when they go to their neighbor and say, hey, I'll, compensate you, please let me pay my music at night. But the creative entrepreneurship example would be like maybe they buy soundproofing for their house, right? So the entrepreneurship of creating soundproofing solves an externality problem. So that's cool. Oh, my dog's Instagram, the Adventure Pup. I haven't updated it in a long time though, but yeah, you can follow her there. The Adventure Pup. Yeah. All right. Any other questions, friends? I should probably let you guys go to bed.